Hello there, this is Dave Allen for EV20 Questions, and I haven't vlogged for a while because I've been travelling. I went to Birmingham for my mother's 80th birthday party, and we didn't hire a car while I was over there, so I didn't have to put up with having to drive a fossil fuel car. Although I suppose I could have looked to see if there was something electric around, but I wouldn't have held my breath to see if I could get one of those, because they're a bit specialised still. So I did get to use some electric transport while I was over there. I used some electric trains going from the National Exhibition Centre, the Birmingham Airport, into the city centre. That was electric trains, that was good, and back again as well. While I was going around from place to place in Birmingham, I was using buses, and they were all big old diesels. But on the other hand, I do have to say that they had sort of improved since the last time I was there, where they were actually stopping when they were parked. And then they had to be parked for a very, very short time, and the bus stopped, and then it started up again when the driver was ready to move on again. So that was good. So there was less of the noxious fumes going out into the city centre. Another thing I noticed as well in Birmingham is that all of the city centre was actually sort of fairly car-free. Much of the sort of main sort of shopping streets, they were used to be that you could drive your cars down there before. You can't drive your cars down there anymore. It's been a long time since you can drive. In fact, buses don't even go down some of the places there, which is quite good. And then generally the streets where cars were allowed, there were very few cars going down there. I mean, you see a few sort of cars parked up in various little places around, but there was a lot of car places available. Either people are using a park and ride, or they're just using public transport to go all the way from home into the city centre. I think it's a good improvement. So that was something good about Birmingham. While I was walking around Birmingham as well, I did see some of those charging points. There was a couple that was around the back end of the main museum and art gallery, which we were in, and we saw the Staffordshire hoard what was in there, a lot of gold pieces, and some amazing Anglo-Saxon jewellery, which was really impressive. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the charging points. There weren't any cars parked at them, but they were there. And also I went into Sutton Coldfield, and although I didn't see them, my sister did point out to me that there were some charging points that were frequently used, she told me, just around the corner in one of the streets nearby, and people were obviously sort of getting the benefit from them, so that was quite good. One of these days, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a long distance trip and drive all the way through France, maybe all the way through England, and head towards Ireland in my Nissan Leaf. And that would be fun, that would. I think I'd like to do that, and maybe I will do one of these days and see how it goes. I've only got to work out how much it's going to cost on the ferry. Well, yesterday the new 2019 Nissan Leaf was announced by Nissan at the CES Computer or Consumer Electronics, whatever you call it, S. What's the S stand for? Something or other. That was it, something or other. Show. So the Computer Electronics Show, Consumer Electronics Show, I'm getting mixed up here. So that was on during this week, and there was an announcement, and it's a bit sort of underwhelming, to be quite honest. We knew there was a bigger battery coming in, and they're going to call it the E+. But what else has it got? Not really much. I mean, all the inside's the same, the outside looks just the same. There's supposed to be some improvements in the ProPilot Assist, and I don't suppose there's going to be much, to be quite honest. I reckon we need to find out a little bit more when there's some actual test drives being done. There was the change has been to the CHAdeMO, which is going to allow people to charge up faster. It's got a bigger battery, so it needs that to be able to charge them faster. And again, they're saying it's going to take sort of 30, 40 minutes to go from 20% to 80%. Obviously, you've got to bear in mind it's a bigger battery, so there you go. And there's the 22 kilowatts AC charging, and that is something I'd like to see in this car, because when I go to France, there's a 22 kilowatt post there, and this car is only pulling in, well, sometimes it's only as much as 3.3 kilowatts, because it's only taking a single phase in. And if it could take the full availability of 22 kilowatts, that'd be great, that would. Because there's a lot of those 22 kilowatt posts out there. It's got a bigger screen in it, so the people are complaining about the screen that's in this one, which is a 7-inch screen, and they're saying that it's a bit sort of laggy and a bit sort of low resolution. I don't mind it, to be quite honest. It's good enough for using with my Apple CarPlay, so I'm happy enough. The only thing with it is that sometimes it does feel a little bit slow when you touch it and you're expecting a button, but I don't really notice much because, I mean, when I'm driving, I don't really sort of use the screen that much, and Apple Play, I can get most of the stuff done that I want to do with using a voice, so I don't have to touch the screen that often. I'm always using the Apple CarPlay to send text messages via WhatsApp and have them read out to me as well. Same thing with messages. So messages come in there and I can do that. That's really good. And another thing which I've added to this car, which is kind of nice, is because I've got the latest iPhone, the XS Max. Yes, it's one of the big ones, and it's a bloody expensive one as well. But I plan on keeping it for 3 years, so it is kind of worth my while. Anyway, so what I've got is I've got the Launch Center Pro application, which is just recently out. It's version 3. And it's got NFC tags. So I've put an NFC tag in this here, and I've set up a shortcut in the Shortcuts app. Now, what happens is that I come in the car, I sort of point the top end of the phone to the NFC tag. You have to get it pretty close, and it pops on the screen there saying it's seen the tag, and you press the button on it, and it does the various things that you've set up in the Shortcuts app. First of all, I've set it up so it starts with Leaf Spy Pro, which is a good thing because sometimes I forget, and then it doesn't record all the journeys I've been making in there in the sort of table of journeys. In fact, a lot of times I don't really bother it much, but now I've got it set up so that each time I get in the car I use the NFC tag, and I've always got this thing started. So it does that first of all, then it sets off some music for me, and then what I wanted to do is I wanted to start Waze. And it does all of these things as I'm sort of waiting for the car to sort of boot up and everything. That would be nice if the car was to boot up a bit quicker, but still, that's beside the point again. So while the car's starting up, and I press the button there to sort of say, yeah, you can watch where I'm going and stuff, and I'm waiting for Apple CarPlay to get started, the NFC sort of running through its things. I've put in a couple of things where I tell it to wait a certain number of seconds so that it gives a bit of time. And then also what it does is that it says, David, where are we going? That's kind of nice. Oh yeah, the other thing it does is it starts playing my music for me as well. And what I might do at some point in time is I might do it so that it gives me some choices. So what I'll do is I will have the NFC tag start up a shortcut which is called Drive or something like that, and then when it goes into that shortcut it'll sort of give me options. Do I want to drive listening to the podcast? Do I want to drive listening to music? Do I want to drive listening to the music on Spotify? I'll probably always want it to start up Leaf Spy Pro for me, so that's quite good. I'll leave it at that, and I'll probably leave it still the same, where it's going to sort of give that sort of message to me and read it out to me saying, right David, where are we going? So that's all kind of nice. I do love this sort of bits of automation. One of the bits of automation that is available in the car using a voice is that you can press the button on the steering wheel here, and you can get certain things to happen, but it's quite limited into what it will actually do. And for the most part, I ignore it. I don't really use it because I press the button, I press and hold in so that I get through to Apple CarPlay and to Siri, and I ask Siri to do stuff for me rather than asking the voice-operated stuff within the car to do it for me. So that's that. As far as this, I suppose I better say really, as far as this thing's concerned with the Nissan 2019 Leaf, I'm happy with the Leaf that I've got. It would cost a whole pile of money with the depreciation on this car to be able to change it up for the next one. I bought this car, I haven't got a lease on it, so I say stuck with it. I'm stuck with it and happy with it for the next goodness knows how many number of years. In fact, I'd really like to be able to make it last at least 8 years even, or longer, because why not? It's a great little car. It does all that I need. And I suppose when I've got, say, sort of 5 years or 6 years under the belt with this car, maybe I think about getting another car. Maybe I think about saying, well, okay, if the battery's degenerated a little bit and maybe it needs another battery put in there, that's something to consider, because the car will still be good at that stage. Everything is going to be working fine. I mean, will there be extra bits and pieces in the cars that are going to come out in 5 years' time that I want? Probably. but I mean, will I need it? Probably not. I'll be happy with what I got. So that's about the size of it. There's always the possibility that my wife could be getting an electric car at some point in time, say 5 or 6 years' time, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that either, because the last car that she bought was a Suzuki Jeep, and she kept it for 27 years. And she only got rid of it in the end because of the fact that it was an old car and they wouldn't let it. It's one of the cars that you can't drive into Barcelona with, It's only got a very small fuel tank on it, which maybe is a good thing. She only drives it just sort of a small distances around the town here, and she really doesn't need a car, to be quite honest, at all. She could, I mean, she'd be happy. I mean, I say she'd be happy. She could drive to and from the bus in the mornings using a Twizzly. But there is the odd occasion where she will drive from home into Girona to go to her work. Anyway, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye now. This is Dave Allen. Bye-bye.